Professor Cadre here. This is Tobacco 301 Aromatic Blends. So aromatics are often a pipe smoker's first introduction to the hobby. They're also one of the most debated categories. Today we're going to be using sweet vanilla honeydew to explore what makes an aromatic an aromatic.
Who makes that?
It's made by Dan Tobacco.
Okay.
This was ordered from Boswell's. Pack them up now. While we're doing that, do you remember your first aromatic?
You know, I think the first time that I tried a pipe, it was your pipe, and it was back at Sam Rosen's house, our buddy, and you were smoking something. I think it was something like Irish
whiskey, maybe
something like that. It was but I remember it was in the tin. It had the little paper around the tin. I remember seeing it for the first time, and I remember liking it. But I think that when I really got into pipe smoking, the first thing I bought myself was over at the tobacco shop in Ridgewood, and it was might have been Christmas morning. It might have been one of the first. It was around winter time, and I think that that's what he recommended I try. I think that might have been the first one. It was good. I still like that, even not on the holidays. It's a good flavor, whatever.
Yeah. Some of those more seasonal flavors don't have to be had on the season.
No, if you just blindfolded me and said, I'd be like, this tastes good.
Mm-hmm. So what is an aromatic? An aromatic is a tobacco that's enhanced with casings or toppings, various flavorings. It's often designed to provide both a flavor and a room note. That's what we get when we...
Right.
That's what's the smell around to the people who aren't smoking.
And oftentimes the room note is more... The flavor's great, but it would lead you to believe that what they're smoking is as delicious as it smells.
Right.
It's not always the case.
Often not the case, actually, I would say.
Yeah.
But it is one of the most popular categories in pipe smoking. We've talked about this before, about how it's, as popular as, like, say, Johnny Walker is for whiskey. And it's just... And I think that's probably because they're pleasant to the people around you.
Yeah.
And they're just very approachable.
I think a lot of those, like, drugstore blends that we picture are aromatics, right? Like,
if they're not like a proper aromatic, there's some kind of flavoring that would probably qualify them as one.
I think long before I ever smoked a pipe, even when I was a kid, somehow on my radar I'd seen like Captain Black and certain things that you'd see, I don't know where, I guess at corner stores and stuff like that, and those are all aromatics for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got it up in this jar here. Got a kind of broken flake kind of appearance. See, there's some bits together, but largely it looks like a ribbon cut.
It's ribbon cut, but it does feel like broken flake.
Yeah.
It's that thicker, kind of slightly thicker, rubberier.
Yeah.
In texture.
Yeah. So, what are your first impressions? Anything stand out immediately?
I wouldn't have known it was honeydew. I like the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
But there is like a honeyness that I get. I don't know. It's tough to say because like we were talking about how you kind of always get the Cavendish, which has like a vanilla-ish thing going on no matter what. Pretty much in any aromatic you smoke. So there's that vanilla kind of honey flavor, and I've personally found that I like aromatics like this that are kind of they're not trying to overdo it because they blend well with the Cavendish and the tobacco that you're smoking itself, and they're more subtle than you might expect when you smell it or when you look at it's less obviously honeydew, but it's fully pleasant.
It is very pleasant. We've already lit it up, but let's smell the blend. All right. I get a kind of fermenty kind of smell from the Virginia there.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't smell honeydew, I can tell you that.
No, I don't, but there is a fruitiness. Almost like the fruitiness that you'll get in certain whiskeys. Like if you smell a certain whiskey on the nose, that's
there's a subtle fruitiness.
which almost goes with the fermentiness. It reminds me of like a fruity whiskey.
They go well together. They pair well together. They're kind of in the same family of a smell. It's almost the same smell that you're getting two different parts out of, right? Yeah.
I always found that so interesting though when you smell someone, smoking a pipe and it smells like cherry, and then you try that same blend and it doesn't quite taste like cherry.
Not quite.
Tastes good, but I almost feel like the people smelling it get more of the note than.
Yeah, that the flavor listing is really more for the people around you, I think. Well, not more for them, but it tells you more about what they're going to experience more than what you're going to experience.
Do you find that certain flavors of aromatic present more easily, like the taste is more noticeable, like there's certain scents or flavors that actually come through?
I think vanilla, cocoa, nutty flavors, the kind of flavors that you're going to find naturally in Virginia and Burley's respectively.
I think the cocoa and nutty for sure. I think the vanilla, like you said, it's kind of always there because the Cavendish. There's just always some vanilla something going on. But the cocoa and nutty flavors, I think that Christmas morning I was just talking about has some of that going on. It's like a caramelly, cocoa-y kind of thing, and that comes through, I think, in a lot of aromatics. A lot of the fruit ones, they taste like fruit, some kind of fruit, but it's just kind of vague as to what fruit it is. That's my experience.
Yeah. They might name the fruit, but if they don't name the fruit, it can be pretty tough to distinguish what they were going for.
They do also make a nice, pleasant smoke, and they're just easy. They're sometimes, they.
So, my kind of first reaction on the taste about this is that it doesn't taste so much like an aromatic. It really does taste more like a Virginia, right?
It does, but I do taste that vanilla Cavendishy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I tend to like aromatics like that, that have that Virginia. And I wonder, that's what you were saying, is kind of like seems like a rubbed out flake. Most of my flake experience has been with Virginias. And maybe that's why it reminds me of that, because it is the Virginia in it that's got that same texture.
I looked it up earlier in the video. According to tobaccoreviews.com, Virginia is the only varietal in this. Yeah.
So there's no Cavendish even.
Yeah. But it wouldn't be the vanilla Cavendish. It wouldn't be where you're getting the vanilla.
It's
the vanilla.
It's sweet vanilla honeydew.
Vanilla casing or topping. Yeah.
I've only had a few, but recently that were kind of like, I guess, aromatics like that, but they were made with like a Virginia or something, and I tend to like that. And maybe it's because I like Virginias, but.
When you take your time with it, I can get a little bit of the honey. I get that honey flavor when you really take some time to sip it.
I got honey
breath method
right off the bat, but I didn't get honeydew melon.
Yeah.
Do you find that retrohaling helps you to taste the?
Yeah, definitely. I also maybe can go more in depth in our retrohale video, but I like to kind of try to retrohale not the whole amount of smoke out at the same time, but still have some smoke in my mouth, and retrohale a little bit out through my nose so that my taste buds are involved while my nose is being involved with the smoke.
It's a very light retrohale while you're holding the smoke in your mouth.
Yeah.
I think I do that naturally too. I don't love consistently retrohaling. Every once in a while I'll just sort of do it. And a lot of times I'll find with the breathe method, you kind of naturally do it a little bit by accident. You ever find that?
Yeah. I do the breathe method, the breath method a lot. So I think that's probably why I find it so natural.
I find that and we can maybe talk about the breath method, because I don't know if we really have before, but that was an eye opener for me.
More in-depth course on it, but
yeah, that was an eye opener for me when I first started smoking a pipe, because at first I'm trying to they talk about smoking slow and cadence, and I remember in the very beginning, we went to that tobacco shop. We were just talking about the tobacco shop in Ridgewood, and this guy, Gary, I think, right?
Yeah.
Who owns it, kind of looks like Mark Twain, and I'm like, that's cool. This guy, looks like Mark Twain. He owns a tobacco shop, and he's smoking a pipe when I walk in there, and they sell cigars and different stuff. So I'm like, all right, this is where I want to be. This guy smoking a pipe, and talks to me for what feels like 2-3 minutes. He's got the pipe in his mouth, doesn't take, and I remember my experience was just trying to keep the thing lit in the beginning, and he takes a puff after having not puffed it for like 2 or 3 minutes, still going just fine. So I'm thinking, like, what's the deal there? And I realized that just keeping it in your mouth, going like this, it keeps it kind of constantly stoked without overheating. You're not in this battle, this push and pull battle of it overheating, and you got to slow down, and you feel that it's hot and it's getting wet already, and you just started smoking it, versus like then you wait and it goes out. It's like, versus just keeping it sort of at a constant simmer,
Yeah, and like kind of talking with the pipe in your mouth kind of creates that a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, yeah.
And also, when you want to actively smoke it when it's in your mouth, you can only really take a little sip. Like you can't take the same volume of smoke because your mouth is open. You're not wanting to inhale it. So I think it was also eye-opening for me too, in realizing that like you get a lot more flavor when you're not chasing a giant cloud of smoke.
Yeah, I'm really tasting the Virginias in this blend.
Me too. Gotta light it again.
Definite vanilla. It's a subtle vanilla, or I don't know if subtle's the right word, but it's not an in-your-face vanilla. It's a light vanilla.
Right.
That's there.
It's there if you look for it. It's always right there, but it doesn't hit you if you're not like thinking about it.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to hit you the way like a vanilla Cavendish type blend would, like the creme de la creme from the tobacco shop.
Yeah, that's a pretty like kind of quintessential aromatic type.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to discuss is, does this represent the aromatic category well? And I'm thinking the one that I've chosen, maybe no. Right?
Maybe no.
It doesn't. I don't think it's representative of the category as a whole. It's a fine aromatic.
No, if it was your first aromatic, you wouldn't really know. It wouldn't represent what aromatics are like.
Right. What makes a good aromatic for you?
I would definitely want to, try some more. One thing that so I love Virginias, and one thing that I like about aromatics, though, when I'm choosing to have one, is like a lot of times just the way the tobacco itself is, they stay lit nice and easily. I like one that is, I tend to like aromatics that are a little bit more on the subtle side, only because I would love it if it existed where it wasn't. But the ones that try really hard and they case more heavily, they're harder to stay lit, and the flavors kind of compete a little bit with the tobacco rather than complement it.
Right. Yeah, you want a nice complementary interaction with the flavors there, because presumably the blender is making choices about what leaf they're putting into the blend for what flavor the leaf is going to offer. They're not just, let's get any tobacco and throw some chocolate flavoring on it.
Yep. But I found that the ones that I've generally liked the most have been like, there was one at the tobacco shop called Barnside. There's the creme de la creme, kind of just straightforward, very soft, for lack of a better word. Both the tobacco itself is kind of soft, but the smoke is just kind of vanilla-y, kind of just honey-y, nothing too crazy. But I have had good like fruit flavored aromatics as well, and I haven't tried enough of the more nutty cocoa-y ones. I'd like to try more, but I find that some fruit ones aren't the greatest. They tend to, it's like either you barely taste the fruit you were trying to get, and then you're left with just Cavendish at that point.
Yeah, a lot of aromatics end up tasting like a light vanilla aromatic.
Yep, exactly.
Because you just really get the vanilla from the Cavendish in there, and not a lot of that flavor coming through.
Yep. So some of the, I think, more things that complement vanilla, like whiskey, honey, that kind of, that gives it another dimension to what you're kind of expecting. But most of my expectations are just sort of a vanilla Cavendishy thing, and then hopefully there's a little something extra.
Yeah, I'd say that's about expectation. When I go into an aromatic and I get more than that, I'm usually like, oh, pleasantly
Yeah,
impressed.
yeah. I don't know about you, but for me, like when I smoke Virginias, they kind of have a mouth-watering effect on me. I don't know if it's the citrusiness, almost like when you have like a lemon or something. It just
Mm-hmm.
kind of they make my mouth water in a good way. And it's not wet smoke. It's my, happening inside my mouth. I'm getting a little bit of that because this is Virginia tobacco, which I love, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely an interesting choice for an aromatic, right? Like pure Virginia.
Yeah,
A lot of blenders will choose the Cavendish because of how well it holds the flavor.
but I am getting some of those like toasty bready notes now as it goes on from the Virginia, which are
Mm-hmm.
complementing the honey and vanilla sweetness, and I'm liking that.
Yeah, I'm getting some of those notes as I'm a bit into the bowl as well.
Especially if I like almost retrohale, don't even just kind of let it be in the back of my, just taste the back of my, nose.
Mm-hmm. That's really where the honey comes out, I
Yeah,
think, at least for me.
I'm finding it getting actually a little bit sweeter as the bowl goes on.
Yeah, I'm having an overall sweeter taste. It almost felt like I was smoking just a kind of run of the mill Virginia blend at first. Now it's starting to feel a little bit more sweet, and not sweet from the Virginia, but sweet
Yeah,
from the casing.
yeah, that's what's so interesting. It's like the casing doesn't generally do what you hope it is, but they always do something. It's always something.
Yeah, and I wonder whether when in the process the flavors were applied here. Like is it a casing? Is it a topping? Like maybe the vanilla was a casing and the honey was more of a topping
What
later
what are
on.
what are the differences there? I kind of think I have an idea, but I'm not quite sure.
I think generally it's really like when in the process uh, it's applied, and then there's also like the intended purpose of the application.
Right,
So like a casing uh, would be focused more on like burning characteristics, um,
smoke characteristics
yeah,
like
smoke
volume of
quality,
smoke.
yeah, things like that, moisture level,
Yeah,
and the flavors that are applied at that point are likely to be more in the complementary area, like your vanillas, maybe chocolates, caramels, things like that.
and that's what I find really comes through a lot.
Yeah, and then the topping is applied at the end of the process. That's mostly for the smell. A lot of that burns away in the room note, but some of the flavor may be there. It's like a lot of like fruit blends is really in the topping more than the casing.
Right.
It's not to say that's the case for all aromatics, of course, but
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that since no matter what you have going on, you're smoking tobacco nonetheless. So there's always going to be tobacco that's part of the equation, the main part of the equation, and that's where I think I kind of ended up leaning in after trying a few aromatics, kind of discovering Virginias and realized like, whoa, I can just appreciate the tobacco itself without having to try to have it compete with something else. So I think that's when you ask what I like in a good aromatic, I think that's it. I don't want there to be too much competition going on. I just want a lot of complementary flavors to what is good tobacco still.
sometimes you like a lot going on in complexity, but sometimes, yeah, it can be the enemy.
What was the best aromatic you ever smoked in terms of maybe not even your favorite flavor, but in terms of the flavor of what it was described as actually coming through?
Off the top of my head, it's unfortunately not available anymore, but there was a blend called Appalachian Berry.
Okay.
That berry flavor really actually came through. I might have had aromatics where like the smell was more accurate to the smoking experience, but that one was one where like it really actually carried through on the taste, and it really tasted like berry
Yeah.
versus just a slightly berry vanilla.
when it comes to like casings and toppings, so like when you have like when you get a Virginia blend or a Virginia flake or something, you know, I don't know if there are rules regulating it, but is it going to be just pure uncased tobacco, or does a lot of it have a little bit of something special going
I think
on?
most, if not all, tobacco is cased. Like even if it's just like a humectant or something.
Yeah, like a glycerin or
Yeah,
propylene glycol.
yeah. It's just, I think it's just necessary for it to work as a product.
Yeah,
That's not consumed immediately.
right. Yeah, I mean, if you've ever had any dried leaves or whatever that are dead, you see how quickly they dry out. I
Right.
mean, leaves in your backyard, that's what happens when leaves dry. If you have tobacco that's not cased, it's going to be pretty much bone dry very quickly once exposed to
Yep.
air.
Yep. 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 Once it's gone through its air curing process, like to actually get down to a smokable brown leaf, from the green leaf that it came off the tree, or not tree, but the plant. Once it's at that point, yeah, it wouldn't take much time at all to
Yeah.
dry out to a crisp.
Which, I mean, I guess like if you think about like a cigar, which I guess aren't probably cased, I'd think.
I'm not
That's why the humidity is
unaware of that. Yeah,
probably
like the
so.
specifically flavored cigars that call it
Yeah,
out.
right. But I think that's why the cigars need that relatively high humidity. 65 to 69% is pretty much the range. That's pretty high humidity. And
Yeah, it is.
if you ever broken like a little piece of a cigar off or whatever and seen like that, it's a flaky kind of thing. You won't really see pipe tobacco get like that unless it's been left out in the air for long periods
Long
of time.
time. Yeah. I don't know if it's just my brain because of the blend, but I do think I am starting to taste some honeydew.
I'm having the Virginia come more and more through, and this is where also I think we could all differ, and our each puff is a little different, and also our as the bowl goes on, it changes,
Right.
and then whether you ate, didn't eat, these things all kind of affect
Yeah.
the way things taste. I'm getting the Virginia growing on me, and I'm enjoying the complementary citrusy and bready notes of the Virginia that are kind of like adding a sourness, a good kind of sourness, not like the bowl went bad kind of sourness.
But the kind of sourness that makes you enjoy a citrus product, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm having that
Yeah,
come
I'm definitely
through.
getting the citrusy kind of Virginias. Definitely bright Virginias in here.
Yeah. I'm still getting some vanilla or vanilla and honey that are complementing every puff. That's it's a nice sweet and sour combo. Yeah, this feels like it's just really straddling like a 50-50 Virginia and an aromatic. It's like
It does.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I chose that for this video, especially for the first one, to find one that's not like a perfect
typical.
example. It gives
Yeah.
us something to talk about with that. Because I just chose a on-hand aromatic that I thought we both would enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't give any thought to like whether it was emblematic. Some of the other blends in this series, I did give that consideration.
Let's see what I got.
But not for this one.
I want to see what I can find. It's old, a couple of years old, but let's see if I can find it. Well, here's the Christmas morning.
Oh.
But I was looking for Barnside.
Still pretty supple.
Not bad, right?
Yeah.
For something that's... It's still,
May not have much of its flavor left, but it's still...
Yeah, it'll smoke just fine.
Smokable.
I had one, I think I have Barnside in here. And if I remember that correctly, that was kind of like a really relatively well-cased, supple, and almost like black in color. Not quite, but that's how I see it. Let me see if I can find it. But just comparing that to like even just feeling it through the bag, it's very different than the Virginia tobacco that we're dealing with here. You know.
Yeah. Overall, I'd say it's a nice tobacco.
Which pipe you got there?
This is a Kerry Wathen Spiral Shank Lobat.
That's really cool.
How about you?
This is a Vaughn. I got it at the pipe show.
Oh yeah,
it was an estate pipe, the Chicago pipe show, pipe convention, and yeah, we were talking about like I wanted something used, not too expensive, and I got a good price on this, and I had never tried a filter before, and what's nice is it's got a 9mm filter adapter, and it gave me the option to try it. Right now I have the adapter and I'm not using the filter, but you know, now I know what they do and how I feel about them. I'm starting to form an opinion.
I got this as an estate pipe as well. It looks like it was made in 1979.
Nice.
According to the stamping on the bottom.
I don't know if this tells me
that might not tell the year as a factory production pipe.
Yeah, the Lobat style is definitely one of my favorite styles.
Oh yeah, it's just so good looking.
Yep.
Yeah, I do. I really like the Spiral Strength. I have a more dramatic one by Ashton as well.
Ashtons are expensive, right?
Yeah, on the pricier side. Got that from an estate as well. All right, until next time, let me know what you think of Sweet Vanilla Honeydew. And let me know what you think of Aromatic Tobacco. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.